Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the DoubleClutch.ca podcast. I'm your host, Nick, managing editor of DoubleClutch.ca magazine, and we have a full crew this week yet again. We've got Nathan. Nope, we don't have Nathan in the studio.
You miss him.
I kind of do. Nathan was unable to join us this week. He had his camera glued to his hands all day today, so we have Addy in his place. We also got Imran and Rush.
Howdy.
Hey.
Yeah, that's a Nathan
Are
tag.
you doing all right, job?
Are you actually just going to fill in?
I'm just gonna pretend to be Nathan the whole night. Yeah.
What do you think of old BMWs?
Oh, they're great.
B58?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question mark?
Best B58, best engine ever.
ZF8s?
Yep. God's own
I
transmission.
think it's actually...
Excellent.
Yeah,
Bavarian
it's-
Jesus
job.
mode.
Yeah. And then you have to complain about drive modes. Cars should not have drive modes.
Does he complain about that?
Yeah.
He thinks
yeah.
they should
really?
not have
Yeah.
drive modes. Yeah.
He
fairness,
said that on one of
I
the
kind of agree with
podcasts.
that, too.
Dude, he gets like aggressively mad when you talk about drive modes.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't use drive modes really. Like I just leave
Maybe
it.
he
I
is
leave
Nathan.
everything in normal.
Maybe he's more Nathan than we thought he was going to be.
I leave everything in normal except like the BMWs and the other stuff with configurable where you can individualize.
Yeah.
And I put everything to sport except suspension, which
So
I
I
leave
put
in
everything
comfort.
to sport. So
Except
I put everything to
suspension.
comfort except the engine.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I
Yes.
did, too.
Except
Yeah.
the... Yeah.
The steering.
Okay,
No,
yeah,
the steering. I put the steering in
no.
sport.
BMW,
I like heavy steering.
Steering and sport for a bit of weight, dampers and dampers and comfort, transmission, engine, whatever, full kill.
Yo, I've become one of like the old car guys around here. But
Old, you're
no,
like,
old
Man, you're
car,
pushing 50.
old car, not old guy. Shut up. Yo, but seriously, I've become one of the old car guys around here. But we've been fortunate enough that I've been like around press cars for the better part of 13 years now. I think.
Trying to flex on us or something?
No, I'm just saying I've gotten the chance to drive just about everything, new and old. I have tons of friends with like old collector stuff that I've gotten to drive. It's crazy. I've everything from, vintage Italian supercars to Mitsubishi Mirages, but, and old Camrys that I then go out and buy because I'm dumb. But one of the cars that before you guys get into the whole new car thing, I got to drive a Lexus IS F yesterday.
What year?
An
Like
09.
An 09?
It was the first...
Are you just
one of the first 2 years.
bringing this up to goad me into buying one?
No,
'cause I'm somewhat horny
but
for one of them.
it's one of the cars that I kind of always liked the idea of because I like V8 Lexuses, Lexi.
Yeah.
But I'd never driven one. I'd always liked it in theory and kind of romanticized that car because it was so cool. It, spawned things like the RCF, the GSF, the IS500, the LC500,
It
all
was
these.
the first F car, right?
It was the first ever
Yeah.
F car, right? It's the first thing with that. Wait, it is the first thing ever with the 5-liter V8.
I'm pretty sure,
I think so. Yeah.
Like one of the second or third applications of the 8-speed transmission. Because the LS46
First one with the stock tips.
first one of the stack tips of and it was a car that I was always like, okay, this is really cool. And I know I'd driven like those second gen IS 250 350 press cars when they were new and being like, okay, like this interior was kind of shit for its day, it's kind of shit now, but regardless of that, I'd always wanted to try this car. And Nick, who has an E39 M5, has been, for some reason, wanting one of these. For reasons I can't understand, even before driving it. Because the E39 M5 has always been, like, peak sports sedan for me. Like, it's just growing up, Need for Speed High Stakes, the higher Clive Owen, like, the commercials, everything about that car. It's timelessly pretty. And for him to have one of those and now want an ISF, I didn't understand. And I may not understand. So maybe before I actually share my thoughts about the ISF, Nick, you can kind of enlighten us as to what brings you to gravitate towards that car while having an M5 in the garage.
It is a very complicated logic. I'm going to boil it down and say I think an automatic. I think an ISF probably suits my particular situation a little better than an M5.
Why?
Was auto?
You just want an automatic daily
Not
toy
that
for yourself?
Not that I
10
want
years
it because
newer.
not that I.
too.
Yeah, but what does it do in that 10 years newer than an M5?
Nothing.
It is like...
It doesn't feel
I
any
mean-
more contemporary. I was driving we have an M5. I was driving it last weekend, and I drove this ISF yesterday. It doesn't feel any. They both feel Like compared to what every new car is, like touchscreens and shit, they both feel very old.
Yeah, I agree, but it does feel a generation newer though. I'm not
Yes.
saying
Oh,
better.
no, for sure.
It feels a generation
No,
newer.
I don't know if it does. The nav is about the same level of dated and shitty.
So put in a Grom, just like your
Right, but you could do that with an
LS
M5. You have CarPlay options for the M5 too.
Well,
but stock for stock.
you have CarPlay
Stock
options.
for stock. I don't necessarily think
It's
that,
not well. It's not just that. My particular scenario is probably something not a lot of people have to deal with, which is why I don't want to get into it because it's just fucking stupid now that I think about it. But I don't know. Okay, bottom line, I had an itch for a V8 rear-wheel drive, daily whatever. M5's great. Took me a bit to start driving with the car, but now that I do, I genuinely do enjoy it. But like, I don't know, I still think an ISF would suit daily driver duties a little better.
have you hit that point in your life where you don't want to stick for the daily?
I hit that point when I had my G35 coupe 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Oh, I didn't know you hit that point.
Which is roughly when you hit your...
Oh yeah, you technically auto.
I have an
daily
auto
and auto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
And
don't.
you've-
But
and you've been dailying LSs for a solid decade.
10 years, yeah. But the thing,
Roughly when I had the G35.
but the thing is,
and also-
I did that when I was doing a lot of highway driving, and I wanted comfort. I didn't really care about the transmission. But there were very few cars out there for the daily driver. When I switched, I had like a 99 LS 400 I started with, and I just wanted cheap, comfortable, and fairly reliable. So there was nothing there with a manual that would have suited that application then that really appealed to me. So like there were, like E60 550i sticks were a lot more money. Like I didn't want something as small as a 3. I wanted something a little bit bigger, a little more comfortable. I didn't want a coupe because I threw shit in the back. I had friends that hauled around. Like I'd occasionally, huck around family and stuff like that. I don't think it was the transmission thing for me. And I still think it's not really, because I very seriously considered getting a GTS 4-liter Cayman or Boxster last year, and I would have done the stick. My commute's short. I don't care. It's mostly city. I don't care. I think I could still do a stick and get away with it. But yeah, if you've hit that point, then fair. That's totally fine. Okay, so getting down to the nitty gritty, and Imran, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because you owned an ISF years ago. But like, I didn't like it. I didn't like the car at all. I thought the engine was fine, because what Lexus engine hasn't been like mostly fine. It sounded pretty good. The transmission wasn't. I mean, I drove it back to back with my LC, but even still, like, something about that car. I'm like, the interior is too shitty to make up for the rest of the car's strengths now.
See, like, to me, what the biggest problem with the ISF was, like, it was the same problem with the IS 500. It just, like,
didn't excite.
it just super mid. It's
Yeah.
So that's
the point?
Yeah, and that's kind of where, like, first of all, I think part of the allure of the ISF, like at least for me, was, and heck, I'm going to say this, a lot of us brown folk, Lexus was like the high watermark for us, right? Like it's a lot of our parents and stuff grew up like liking Lexus, and so the brand itself has always had a bit of allure to it,
but like aspirational,
yeah.
like,
And then when they come out with something sporty, it was this weird, like, this doesn't make
Dichotomy
sense,
of,
and
like,
that's why it's
yeah.
cool. And then when you got into the story of how it was like these like rogue engineers essentially that like grabbed a bunch of parts off a whole bunch of different off the shelves and put it together without. I think they didn't even have like actual authorization to do it when they presented it. So it's a cool backstory, and that kind of like drew me into it. When I got it, like I'd argue, like I think the interior, I mean, I haven't sat in one for a while now, but I remember I had like that white leather.
What color was your car?
It was, oh my god, I think it was black if I recall.
Jesus.
so
We just off camera we were talking about I've had a lot of cars, guys.
Yeah.
But no, it was black on white leather, and it had that sort of, looks like carbon fiber, but it was like
Yeah,
a silver center trim. It
this car had that.
It looked kind of cool. I think I was tracking a lot then, and I don't know why I ended up in an ISF. Again, I just wanted to like it and took it to the track, and it absolutely fell apart. Like the brakes, like even though they're pretty massive for that thing, they were like after a couple laps they were destroyed.
What does that sound like? It sounds like a super similar story to
on the way home from my
IS
first track day with the IS 500, I was on the phone with the dealership
trying to sell it
6 months after I'd bought it, saying, "You guys want this thing back? Like, please take it away." That was my thing. I was like, I love the idea, and then hated the car.
So with the IS 500 though, I'd argue it feels kind of soft, and your expectations probably shouldn't be that high going to the track.
Yeah.
The first gen ISF, before they revised the suspension, I think in 2011, was actually quite stiff.
This was that.
That was one of their.
Yeah,
this was that.
That was one of the complaints.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Adaptive dampers or fixed dampers?
I think they're fixed.
I think they're fixed.
Yeah, they're. And then when I took it to the track, I had kind of high expectations.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
but
like
it
stiff in the
was
wrong way,
atrocious. Yeah, it was just like bad ride quality, but not. You don't get the handling to boot.
Exactly.
So that I had this exact same experience. Like after that track day, I was kind of like, I
You're
don't
just kind of numb
want
to
it
lukewarm
anymore.
to the car.
Yeah.
Had I not tracked it, and it was a daily, like what Nick wants to do, I would get
makes
it.
a lot more sense.
Like a sporty daily. Yeah.
The only thing about that is like, okay, here's where I roll that back. So the buddy of mine that has this ISF, the reason that he got it is he loves Japanese cars and he wanted something with a big V8 to daily.
Okay.
So for him, the ISF fits the bill. But like to me, it's like if it's not about the performance, you've taken the performance out of the equation. Why not get something like an LS 460 and to have the big V8 and the space and the comfort?
So I looked at GS 460s before I got my LS 460. Because I had LS 400, LS 430, LS 460.
Sure.
At one point, I was like, okay, like maybe I'll look at a GS 460.
Those are fucking rare.
They're rare. 16 made. So, but regardless of those, I looked at it and it's like, the interior of the GS is enough of a downgrade from the perennial build quality of an LS that I'm like, I don't care enough for this. And they are actually worth more than comparable LS 460s now. And I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, so, I think that like if you get into an ISF, look, it's gonna be cool because it's an ISF, but like I think it's gonna be the worst of both worlds. It's not gonna be comfortable, and it's not gonna be like the fun performance machine that the E39 M5 is.
And that's where I kind of that's where I ended with this car, because I started thinking fast ass sedans are my jam. It's like one of my favorite segments. I love that. Like fast ass sedans, like V8s. So call it 2003, 2003 to call it 2013, 14.
Yeah.
That era of like really fast daily sedans, V8s. I love that. So I started thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, so a shitty ISF is like 28 to 30. A really nice one is like mid 30s. Okay.
Yeah.
Like regardless of suspension, whatever, like the facelift, pre-facelift, whatever, who cares? That's the price range. So 28 to 35. I'm like, what else? So I started thinking for less money. So E39 M5s are kind of out of the equation because they've gotten so valuable and like protected now that they're not a daily driver really anymore. Nick's is right because it's a great driver car,
but also
and he got into it well below what the market is now.
Consider that fact that car is now also like anyone you get into will be 20 years old, or 20 plus years old. So like stuff's gonna break.
Yeah, but not even that. Like they're preservation cars. They're cult classics. I'm talking more like the heavily depreciated ones that aren't appreciating much. But I was talking about like E60 M5s or like W211.
Back on the way out.
Fine, but not SMG cars. But like,
bro, you can't find one less than 30.
But aren't those also horribly unreliable?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about like W211 E63s.
Yeah.
Like with a naturally aspirated 6.2 or even supercharged E55s. And I've spent a lot of time in 6.2 E63s, like 07 to 09-ish.
Yeah.
And recently we've actually acquired a 09 E300 just to boot around with, like an extra ship box. And it reminded me that like the W211 is one of the last Benzes that still feels like it's carved from a solid block of steel. This one is an E300, so it's slow as shit.
Yeah.
But take the slow as shit out of the equation, put a 6.2 V8 in there. I think I'm back in the game, and I really like the idea of the E63 sedan because The
But what
nicest
does the
one is like
E63
fucking 25 grand.
sedan do that the ISF does, and it still have a slow
Better,
transmission.
better interior.
It's more solid. I'll
Better
mention that.
interior, feels
Yeah,
more
but-
solid, nicer to be in.
But
I would rather
yeah.
devour the miles in the interior of a facelift W211 than I would in the ISF.
But what I'm getting back at is like it's okay. Like you're paying premium for the 6.3. Like you're paying premium because it's an E63.
6.2.
Whatever.
Get it right, Rush.
What I'm saying is like you're paying a premium because it's an E63, and you'll pay a premium because
But
it's
you're
an
not
ISF.
paying a premium though. That
You are.
a comparable E63 is almost 10 grand cheaper than an ISF.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is, look, you'll still pay a premium over a comparable E500. Or
Oh yeah, absolutely.
so
yes.
it's like, why bother with getting the AMG or the F
Oh,
equivalent?
you're saying
saying,
get an
like, just get the
E550 or an
E5.
E500
Yeah.
or like a
Get something with
550i
a V8.
BMW?
Yeah,
Okay. Now now you're cooking. I don't
like for
disagree
a daily,
with that.
I'm just I consider the fact that it's like why do
Yo,
you
I
want the
even like-
most hyped up version of a car for a daily?
Because I
Speaking
think
from
it's,
experience there, buddy.
yeah. I mean, how many? Sorry,
That's what I'm.
sorry. How many M5s and 750is have you owned now?
Yeah, but the 750i is a 750i, which is an LS460.
Yeah.
Right,
So
right,
I'm gonna
right,
say
fine.
that's what I actually agree with.
How
and
many
that's-
M5s have you owned?
Yeah, but the last M5 I got in was an F10 with high mileage. Cool, great car. But like it was too much power and it was too much car as a daily.
It is too. That car is too
That car
stiff
is
for a
too
daily.
stiff and it feels so hyper. Like unless it's going 150 kilometers an hour, it doesn't feel happy. So it's like, why do I want this? So put me back in a 5. Put me with like inline 6.
So I went on the internet last night after driving this ISF, and I was like, "Ooh!" I started looking again at like S7s,
Okay.
like Audi S7s, Audi S6s, even RS7s, and then I started looking at there was an M6 Grand Coupe with a stick.
Yeah.
There is a
Really?
car, yeah, San Marino blue,
Oh, the blue.
the light, the electric, yeah.
How much?
Like 50 grand.
That's not.
No, I know, but like, so that's the next
Wait,
gen, right?
What? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. But anyway, these cars exist. So I actually think that, like, Nick, I don't know what your goals are because you've been loosely talking
Frank, I don't
about.
fucking know either.
Yeah, like you've been loosely talking about like unloading your like wife's daily GTI and the M5,
Yeah.
and potentially getting a ISF that would effectively be your wife's daily, and your like weekend bomb around together car, and get yourself a shitty cheap daily that would be a leave behind, and the 1 week of the month you're not in a press car, you drive it, like something sub 10 grand for like
Like a Mitsubishi Mirage.
Or a
this idiot was sending me Subaru Legacy GTs
Of
last
course
night.
he was.
So no, you're not.
or an
head gasket.
E90 328i.
Yeah,
That's a good leaping.
they're actually excellent.
That's a
leave behinds.
great
is,
context
you're
for our
looking
dealer
for-
readers. That's
But I was
Imran's
thinking,
car.
I actually think, Nick, that like, I think that it would be a fleet downgrade significantly, and it would cost you money to do it, or like dead break even. I think keeping that GTI and running it into the ground, and that keeping your M5 is a better move.
But you know what it actually all boils down to is the fact that Nick doesn't love the M5 that much. So like actually,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I guess
so
so.
an emotional component of it.
I kind of do. So it took me a while to like start driving with the car.
Yeah.
But now that I have lately, and like I've come to the realization that when we spend like our weeks with NPC mobiles, like a GMC Acadia or a Dodge Hornet, which we'll get into later, it's nice hopping back into the M5.
And aren't you in a
11
better
o'clock
mood
at night.
than you would be in like a 328i or some godforsaken thing like Nathan's Beetle that I had to drive last week?
Okay, Nathan's
Beetle's
Beetle is
cool.
actually pretty endearing, and we swap cars enough to the point where his
It's in-
Beetle is basically my leave behind too.
Or are you offended by my comment? Are you
no.
personally offended by me hating on Horace the hate bug?
You mean you hating on your own car because you're Nathan today?
Oh yeah, sorry, I am
Yeah,
Nathan.
what the heck, man?
Howdy.
No, it took me a while to like jive with the car, but now that I do, it's great. I generally do enjoy it. But like that's the other thing that kind of gives me pause. Like our GTI daily is just like it's such a well-rounded daily driver.
Right.
And like, I've kind of softened on the whole ISF kick lately
Right.
because I've made it a point to like spend some more time with my personal cars, and as a result, I've gotten to like spend more time with the GTI. And despite that thing pushing more than 200K, it's still a pretty damn good daily driver.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, at the same time, yes, I'm mildly horny for an ISF, but like at the same time,
I think you should actually
like
experience one.
I'll just fucking keep my own cars.
Have you driven an ISF?
No, never have.
Oh, I mean,
This
that would
idiot
provide
was
good
like-
I
context.
think it's a never meet your heroes kind of
So actually, sorry, this is the part where I look like an asshole, because I am. I phoned him, and I said,
Literally
hey, Nick,
call me.
Hey, Nick, don't look outside your office door, and don't listen to and look at what I'm about to drive off in.
And guess
no,
what I
you
did?
can't come with me. So, of course, he gets up and looks out. I mean, I told him not to, and then I waved to him from the ISF, and then I accelerated onto the road quite loudly.
Sounded great.
I could have taken him with me, but it was a lot funnier this way for me.
I do think what Rush is saying, it is a bit of a never meet your heroes moment. Not that it's a bad car though. Like it's
no, not by any
Right,
means.
But is it
you're
a Japanese M5? I
no,
don't think so.
no.
I'm not expecting
It's
it.
not.
I'm not expecting it to be
What?
a Japanese M5. I'm kind of expecting it to be like a loud V8 rear-wheel drive daily driver. I don't care if it's like a little soft around the edges. I don't do a lot of track driving anyway.
So what you're actually saying is it's loud and fast and sort of... No, actually, you didn't even say sporty.
Sounds a lot like my M5.
No,
Might as well
no,
get my
I was
fucking
going to
M5.
say, why don't you just get an LS460 and straight pipe? It'll be the same thing.
See,
It'll be loud.
I've driven your LS460 numerous times.
Don't drive his.
and-
This is the worst one.
But like,
He knows why it is. He's looking at me right now, but
He's right. I have a stupid suspension
like,
modulator that
he
makes it
puts
feel
so
weird.
much garbage in that car that
Just that. I have to
It's not
remove
even
that
straight,
thing.
but-
Everything else, that car is perfect.
Yeah, but look, at the end of the day,
have to
like
remove
there's you probably like the way the ISF looks compared to an LS, I assume.
I never liked
more
the
youthful,
I
yeah.
think the LS, and this is a slight to Addy. I think it's too old, man.
Sure,
oh,
and
straight up is, yeah.
and
Absolutely.
yeah, and
I
the
think
thing
I
is,
think my
like,
toys offset the old madness. My bright yellow S2000
Which you never drive.
with my New York Yankees fitted hat sitting
Fitted
flat
hat.
brim fitted hat sitting on the passenger seat.
goodness.
Okay, but also you have an '89 Camry.
Oh,
Yes. I'll have you know
Where is this going?
the Camry is a 90.
Let's 90. Whatever. Let's see. Last week I saw
Wait, hang on.
an
it's a 90s Camry that it takes to car shows.
Yeah, because
That's a little weird, yeah?
not when you think about it.
It is kind of weird.
no, I think it's weird.
It's like super proud, like, oh, look at me and my Camry. It's the best Camry. It's all driving. It's like, oh.
My Camry is
Go buy
best
another
Camry.
rebuilt Ferrari.
Wasn't mine.
Yeah, he didn't. He wasn't the reason he had to rebuild it.
Oh,
What are you talking about? His Ferrari's been
No, the rebuilt. The
No,
whole
it's
rebuilt.
No, his Ferrari does it came rebuilt.
Right, but
No,
but
my car's
Ferrari
not
crashed.
rebuilt.
No?
No, man.
Does it just have a huge hit on it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it just has a huge hit.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with
The one that you own currently has a rebuilt title.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
well-
I do currently own a
back
360
that
with a
up,
rebuilt
yeah.
title, yeah.
yeah. So, moral of the story: never meet your heroes. Anyway, Imran. Enough about that. Okay,
I'm sorry,
so
I really like Rush's Ferrari. I'm being mean.
He's
clearly.
being mean. He's very good at that.
Very. Okay, so last week we got into a very heated discussion about some spending convertibles and the Ioniq 5N, which means we kind of ran out of time to talk about what Imran had last week. Hey Imran, what did you have last week?
yeah, I had a Dodge Hornet.
Oh, God, so excited.
RT.
Ooh,
Yeah, PHEV.
sporty.
Um,
Okay.
Which is the carbon copy of the Alfa Romeo Tonale.
Tonale or toenail.
Toenail.
Tulane, as Nathan likes to make fun of me for that
mean,
one fucking typo once upon a time.
Do we then call this Hornet a Hornet?
I do
Hornet.
pronounce it like that as a matter of fact, and I've actually pronounced that. I've said that openly in public.
Hornet,
Oh,
retweet.
Hornet.
But look, jokes aside, I had very low expectations of this, and I liked it. Like, I actually thought it drove pretty competently. I had recently come out of the Stelvio Quadrifoglio, and obviously it's not the same thing, but
No?
What?
but because I had come out of that,
Yep.
a lot of the alphaness
Yeah.
was easily visible to me in the Hornet, right? Even from some of the, we'll call it UX stuff, like the the column mounted paddle shifters and
Yeah.
and the infotainment UI and some of that stuff. And even like the handling was actually felt less Dodge, more Alpha. Which was shocking. The power is more than adequate. Funny enough, seldom do I get comments about the press cars that I'm in. I was leaving the grocery store and some young-ish kid, or I'm going to say kid, but probably early 20s, is like, "That's really nice. What is that?"
What?
I'm not kidding.
Get out of here.
I'm not kidding. And then I thought about it afterwards because I was taken aback too. I'm like, is this guy talking to me? Like,
Yeah, like who?
yeah. And then I kind of took a step back and looked at it, and it's like, okay, at least from the like rear 3/4, like there's a lot of Macan in it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what I liked about the Tonale. The Tonale. It's a good. It's shit on it. Shit on it all you want, and I'm sure there are a lot of like things we can pick apart on these cars between you and I, having spent time with both of them. They do look good.
They do like, and I'd say like almost from any angle, like the wheels were nice. It's got some big ass front brake calipers that you know look very sporty. The front end had this weird. Like the headlights on I don't know if the Tonale are the same, but it really gave me 1999 Dodge Caravan vibes, which was my childhood. Which,
oh yeah, like the
it's just like, and even the way the lenses are. I don't want to get into too much detail, but like they look very old school Caravan. Like
I use up those surplus parts for
somehow. Seriously. And I was like, I don't know, is this a good thing because it's like brand lineage, or like is it just like
probably not the right kind of brand lineage that they were going for?
Hey man, the Caravan it was peaking then. Okay, like so maybe they're going back to their glory days of the late 90s.
Some engineer that was in one of those things as a kid is now being like, oh, hang on, I got to bring this back.
Exactly, yeah. But all in all, like it's actually it was surprisingly good. It even the range like on the PHEV was 50 kilometers, and I felt like it was pretty authentically 50 kilometers.
That's the one thing that really surprised me with the Tonale over winter. Like even with like minus 20, minus 30 wind chills and whatnot, it would still stay pretty close to that 53 kilometers rating. So like I don't recall being able to squeeze out more than 50 kilometers. I think it was like topping out around 45 or 40 kilometers. Granted, in the winter. Yeah. But, you know, for it to be that accurate, that's pretty impressive.
No, it was pretty good. And I felt like the system was relatively seamless. Even when the engine kicked in, I felt like the thing was pretty quiet unless you're kind of gunning it. Then it sounds a little bit thrashy. But for most people, how they'd be driving this thing, like it was actually surprisingly quiet even when the motor was on. And yeah, I felt like it was a pretty well sorted, like powertrain. Yeah. And one thing that happened was weird, and this is probably just an Alpha thing. I had like 20 plus kilometers of range, and then I'm on the highway just cruising, and randomly I get this electric motor or whatever not available, or electric drive not available, and it switched to hybrid.
Interesting.
Were you flooring it?
No, I wasn't. That's the thing. I was like, it was late at night. I was just coming home. I was lazy. I was probably doing like literally 100 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, that's weird.
And it just like it was like 20 some odd kilometers, and it just cut out.
Yeah.
But then it came back. So I don't know. Like I have no idea what that was.
Yeah, I don't know.
But outside of that, like, hey, it's solid.
Yeah.
What's the cost?
The one thing that
don't ask me that question.
Oh God,
well, it's been a couple weeks, so I forget the number.
So when I had the Tonale, that thing was expensive for the PHEV. It was like pushing 70.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Really?
And from what I recall, the Hornet isn't that far off.
Yeah.
Like
that's tough.
Like I feel like they're both like in the 60s, which is a pretty tall ask for something that isn't premium, like in the in the Hornet's case.
Yeah, it really is. Especially in the case of, it's not the same thing with even the next car we're about to talk about. That is significantly better value.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that I think the problem also with the Hornet and the Tonale, I think it's really easy for people to see right through the rebadging and all that stuff too, right? So it's like the Alpha, maybe people will pay a premium because it's Alpha branded and they have they do have a luxury feel to the brand, but a Dodge Hornet is the same thing and costs the same money. It's what's going on?
So yeah, and that's the weird thing, right? Is because it feels premium for a Dodge in some ways.
Yeah.
But who's looking for a Dodge to feel premium and then to pay that money, right?
Seems a little lost.
Yeah, which is a weird part because when you look at it from the outside, even when you sit in, it's surprisingly nice, right? But surprisingly nice
at Dodge when I see it.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And I guess
think
we're saying that as a compliment.
Yeah, I think that's the trouble of trying to shift these things. I don't think anyone's going to buy one because it's not the typical Dodge to buy. And if you're not going to buy it because you are a Dodge buyer, are you just going to go for the Alpha instead, or what's going to happen here? Right?
And that's the thing. Now I'm thinking, do you see either of these on the road?
I saw
Rarely.
one Tonale in the wild, maybe a month ago. That's it.
Yeah, I don't see, forget the PHEV even. I'm just saying.
Just even a regular one.
They're really struggling to, move them.
Yeah.
I rarely see these. And it's weird because, you would think that, these being small crossovers, it'll be pretty easy for them to, move these things.
Yeah, but I think Dodge has become, I know they've, separated their Ram brand, but, when I think Dodge, outside of, obviously, all their sedans that are dying, I still think truck.
Yeah.
Even though, again, Ram is technically a separate brand.
I know
now.
It's a big brand perception issue, right?
And I think that's it. Yeah, no one's looking for the Dodge Neon days are over.
Yeah.
So no one's looking for a compact little Dodge.
Well, clearly, because you're also going to have to pay $70,000 for it. Damn near $70,000 for it. That's a little crazy, I think.
So yeah, it's unfortunate because it's
the product is good.
Yeah, it's quote unquote failure is probably brand perception.
Yeah.
Because the actual product itself is pretty darn good.
Yeah. And the pricing doesn't help. I just looked it up. They're both they both start at 60-ish grand and give and take a few grand between them. So at that point, which just
I feel like a compact
not?
Dodge starting at 60 grand, that's a non-starter.
Yeah, and why wouldn't you get into a
just
bigger Ioniq 5 or
right?
Because this thing is compact. The Hornet's small.
It's small. It's small.
Right?
And at that price point, why not just go for the premium brand? Why not go for the Alpha? Just get something a little more interesting.
Brand, go for an HRV or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that too.
I just have no idea why anyone would buy one of these things.
Yeah, the sweet spot I think is the non-PHEV powertrain.
Still starts at 60.
which I haven't driven, but I heard that performance-wise, it's actually the same-ish. So because of the weight penalty on the PHEV,
and they're well under 50 grand.
Okay, so a non-PHEV is 50 grand, around 50 grand, 52,
around 50. Yeah, both the Tonale and the Hornet. They're both
the Dodge. Okay,
yeah.
But again, we're seeing that we're not seeing those on the road.
Not really, no.
So
what else is around 50 grand though? What else is in that segment?
The premium space?
Yeah.
Well, is the Dodge Hornet non-PHEV
That's what I
premium? Is that because aren't we talking about
the Alpha is maybe?
Aren't we in RAV4 and
the RAV4 Prime, the Tucson PHEV? Those are all a lot less money, granted, but they're
even
also
a non-prime.
But they're also much bigger than the Hornet. They're much more practical.
Right. So why buy this thing?
Why wouldn't you go there?
Fair.
Right? Yeah. And you could argue the Hornet is more interesting in some ways.
But who's buying a compact crossover to be interesting?
And that's exactly it, right?
It just does not make any sense, man.
So yeah, it's a weird product for Dodge.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should have just not done a Dodge version of it.
Yeah, and I think that was probably
because I think that's also probably hurting the Alpha sales. It's oh man, that's a branded Dodge. It's no, but the Dodge is
the other way around.
Yeah, I know, but people will not get it out of their heads, right?
Yeah, but without that, I mean, granted, again, they're not moving these, but like at the same time, without the Hornet, what else would Dodge have?
I don't know. That's their problem.
Yeah, because
But
Like-
but why let Alpha suffer for it? Right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it kind of hurts both ends of the business.
it would have made, yeah, you're absolutely right, Rush. Like, it would have made a lot of sense, and the Alpha would have had a lot more brand cachet if the
Absolutely.
Hornet did not
Because
exist.
it's more premium, right?
Like,
I just think it's like, okay, instead of it sharing a platform with the Dodge Hornet, which obviously it does, like, you could have just had this premium compact crossover from Alpha and said, yo, this is a great product. Yeah, it's expensive, but it's an Alpha.
yeah, I guess they thought it was an easy win to get some volume into Dodge, but
But I think then the real pitfall is pricing it almost identically.
yeah. The pricing kills it. It's not a great value proposition.
No, I don't think so.
yeah, but what does Dodge actually have
Okay, hang on.
today?
that's the thing.
Because like the Challenger's dead.
Well, that's what I was trying. That's what I was getting at. Like, if it wasn't for the Hornet, what would Dodge have right now?
Like the Charger's
like-
coming, but the current Charger, is it already dead?
yeah,
So and
They are.
the EV Charger's coming, right?
It's coming, like, next
also
year.
there's like a V6 version, but it's coming next year.
So
So
Dodge makes a Durango,
the Durango's still around.
a 2023 Challengers on their website, 2023 Charger.
That's just old inventory.
Hornet.
and the Hornet.
So take out the 23s because that's just old inventory.
So a Durango.
So Durango and a Hornet,
Yep.
technically. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're just like they were definitely just begging for give us something to sell.
Yeah.
And this is their something to sell. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So unfortunately, a good product, wrong brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the best value proposition.
I don't even buy that for a second because think about the fact that, like, no Dodge dealer is standalone. They also have Jeep
Right.
and Ram.
Like,
So
they have
it's-
shit to sell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not actually even a dealer
Yeah.
problem. It's actually just like Dodge trying to make a buck,
Between like the
or Stellantis trying to make a buck.
But this comes down to Stellantis's recent comments about streamlining brands.
Yeah.
And it's like, the question remains, and you hate to think that
Yeah.
like, because Dodge is a storied brand here in North America, but
It's gonna go bye bye.
like should they exist?
God,
should the
don't
Durango
Pontiac
just
it.
move to Jeep, or is a Wagoneer and Durango the same thing? I don't know. I don't know. Chassis.
Grand
wise.
Cherokee.
Grand Cherokee. Okay.
Grand Cherokee.
Yeah, Cherokee and a
Yeah.
Durango.
And, hey, I don't see Durangos either. So
I see
Not saying
Durangos.
Durango.
yeah,
I've
see
seen them as police
Durangos.
cars.
yeah.
I've seen a couple Durango police cars, but
No,
But
I see a decent amount of Durangos in the world, especially SRTs.
fair. Yeah.
Like people fucking buy SRT
yeah, the
Durangos
SRTs.
because again, there's nothing like those things in the 3-row space.
okay.
But like there is.
okay.
I mean, is that part of their? I've only heard of wanting to sell off Maserati right now,
So far, yeah, I think that's the only thing that's like.
but it really begs the question: like, should Dodge exist unless there's significantly more coming, right? Because all we know, you children, but is outside of the Charger, what else is on its way?
Nothing, man.
Like legitimately,
Nothing.
is there
Nothing.
anything?
No.
No, dude, no, there isn't. It's just a Hornet.
Yeah, so it's time for it to
Like-
go the way of Plymouth.
Well,
Like,
yeah, man, they got nothing going on.
Okay, but like if they brought back Plymouth and the Prowler, that would be like
The Prowler, get the
Pretty
heck
fucking
out of here,
wild.
man.
with
What's
its
wrong with you?
V6 automatic.
okay, but
it was
like
it was
make
never
make
objectively a good car.
No, it was also kind of ugly. It was cool.
It was
cool.
interesting.
It was interesting, but like, why would they bring that back?
They should bring back the Intrepid. I heard those are
Viper.
great. Yes, they fucking should.
Yeah, you of all people, they should bring back the Viper.
Hell
they
yeah.
should.
Like,
They-
the Viper is what a kick-ass car. Like, that's a symbol of America, and they're like, nah, we gotta make the Hornet.
Hornet.
Like, I
I
don't know.
Yeah. Why did the Viper, was it low sales volume?
Oh, yeah, they didn't
sell
was
it all.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I saw it on the road just a couple weeks ago, and
So
I was
cool.
like, my eyes were glued
Yeah.
to it.
They're
Like
so
it
cool.
was the last version, whatever
Yeah.
it was, and I was just like I was staring at it like I'm.
Yeah.
seeing a Revuelto or something like.
See, the problem is like if they were making the Viper, we'd all be talking shit probably.
Yeah, probably. We can't be. We just
Well,
can't be.
we're not happy.
Yeah,
No.
they're just.
But
they're
like,
just-
I think the Viper will be one of those cars that's like, man, there's this, and this wrong with it. Pause. I'm so glad they make it though, because who the hell else is making something like it? And that's probably the issue with it. Is like the things that make it cool, they probably can't do for that much longer. Like because the last Viper still had V10, yeah.
yeah.
Yep. V10 manual.
V10, and it was
Up until like
kind of wild.
2013,
And that's
2016.
that's the problem is that they can't like there's no like among their brands they can't even share that. You know, like
Well, you could put it in a pickup truck.
sure.
Fucking make a.
But I mean, even going further in terms of like their Maserati
No, you
brand
can't.
or something, right?
No.
Like, you know, they have a V6 turbo. Like, they're not going to use that powertrain and dump it into a Viper. Like, that's not going to go anywhere,
I understand what you mean.
right? So yeah, it's a tough proposition.
Well, what's
Yeah.
even going on with Maserati? Like,
Well, that's
What do
why
they
they're
make?
the MC20 and the
Grecale.
oh, the Grecale. Yeah, that thing's
Yeah.
kind of funny.
no, and then they have the what do you call it back?
There's a new
The
Gran Turismo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
New
yeah.
version of the Gran Turismo.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Is the Ghibli still in production?
Shouldn't be.
Oh, I think so. I think
I think
it is.
Quadruporte?
I feel like it is.
I think they still are.
no, not the quad.
Quadruporte, they still made that. I had a press car like 2 years ago. 3 years ago.
No,
Ghibli
no,
we
no.
had
The
last year.
Ghibli is the
We-
Quattroporte.
No, man. No, they absolutely weren't. They
They're
sold
two
them side
different
by side.
models, yeah.
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 Did they really?
Yes.
When
Yeah,
was the
buddy.
Quattroporte
A huge
updated?
long wheelbase sucker.
The
No, I know.
2014.
I
Yeah.
just remember like
2014
that
and 15.
one.
They put in because they got rid of the V8
Yeah.
and they went to Turbo 6.
I definitely reviewed like a 2021 Quattroporte. It was navy blue, brown leather, beautiful
I
car.
gotta look this up.
Every Quattroporte ever sold was navy blue, right?
Seems like it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, they definitely made the Ghibli like up till last year because we had a presser,
Yeah.
we had a Trofeo.
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember
that thing was pretty tight.
It's pretty dramatic.
Oh, 2024 Maserati
Yeah.
Quattroporte.
There you go.
So wait,
Everyone's
Maserati.
like, wait,
On
what?
this week's
Maserati
episode,
has-
Imran learns Maserati makes cars.
Yeah, Maserati still exists.
There's a Gran Turismo, a Gran Cabrio, a Grecale. Is a Levante still in production? A
They make
Levante.
a lot of shit.
They have a full-on lineup.
They have more
guys.
shit than
Yeah.
Dodge.
Just nobody knows.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem, I guess.
Quattroporte starting from $167,000.
I can't wait
I've seen
to
a
buy
lot of
that in
Levantes, though.
15 years
No,
for $7,500.
I do not want one of those.
Why?
You know why? Because I want
Rush wants what he wants.
like an 11 with a ZF and the big V8, the 4.8. I want one of those so badly. We have to make it happen.
Maybe Maserati needs to have a bit of a press fleet so we can get the
They
word
do.
out.
They do.
They do. We drive them occasionally.
I would like to try it.
We had
a
two
Maserati.
Grecales like last summer.
All right.
But it was last summer.
We had a
Where
PHEV
were
and a
you?
Trofeo.
Oh,
The
you're probably
Trofeo-
The Trofeo was actually
He was being a
super
dad.
good. It was so funny. It was probably one of the funniest cars I think I've ever driven.
Kind
The
of, yeah.
funniest?
Yeah, do you remember it had an
Oh yeah, the analog clock, which became
That
like a
was just
sport
digital.
chrono display. Yeah, it was digital.
Oh yeah.
a
no,
digital
that's- I've
analog
seen that.
clock?
That was a Grecale.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about the Ghibli.
No. But also, it
Yeah.
was hilarious around corners. Like, it was actually super funny.
Like in a
What are you giving that face for?
in which way?
It's just weird for you to refer to that car specifically as funny.
Because it wasn't good. Like, I wouldn't buy one. But do I think that it's hilarious that it exists and, like, does all the things that it does? Like, it's just, like, it's funny because, like, it's like, why the fuck is anyone making this thing?
So I had
Wait,
a
I
Ghibli.
wanna know.
I had a Ghibli press car. I don't remember what spec it was.
Ghibli
but it
is also
was,
a terrible name.
Hold on. So like 5-ish years ago
I'm sure it means
in
something.
LA, and I drove it on Angeles Crest Highway. I drove that thing in the canyons, and I was like, yo, like this thing kind of dances. It actually, like
feels
body
Italian.
control and everything felt really, for what's essentially like a big fat sedan, it actually
Yeah.
drove surprisingly well.
Well, the
and
Ghibli Trofeo we had last year stripped down all of the shit associated with it, like the questionable interior, the looks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It actually drove pretty
yeah,
great.
Yeah, I had
and
a
it
Trofeo, like, 3
sounded
years ago, too.
fantastic.
they were good.
Okay, so if they have any 24 pressers, who's our Stellantis guy?
Yeah, we'll get it done.
The same dude who gave you the Hornet that you so
Oh, that's right.
that you so lovingly
Hey, that I liked. That
yeah,
I liked.
good cars,
Yes.
good cars. Aside from the value proposition. Speaking of value propositions,
Oh,
dude,
heck
that
yeah.
Civic Hybrid you're in this week.
Okay, that is really good.
Yeah,
And we looked up the price right before, and we'll get to how good the car itself is, but price-wise, I think all of us expected it to
Yeah.
be just just north of 40 at
I was
least.
expecting. I thought it would be pushing past 40, kind of overlapping with the Accord, but no.
Yeah, and this is the 25 Sport Hybrid. So the top end trim, Sport Touring Hybrid.
Sport Touring. Get some mild refresh for 25 as well. Some like new front end, new wheels, and all that fun stuff.
I don't know if the infotainment's updated, but the big thing is that the hybrid powertrain is updated. So now it's 200 horsepower and I forget, just a shade over 200 for torque. But it's pretty significantly more powerful than the previous generation one. And honestly, that powertrain for a hybrid, I feel, is extremely well sorted. It feels, and we were kind of joking about it off mic, how it kind of solves the SI's lack of torque.
It kind of does. Like Rush and I were talking about this, like when we took it out for a boot. You know,
A boot.
aside, to me, it feels like what a theoretical Mazda 3 hybrid would be. Like, nice interior, well put together, great fit and finish, everything's comfortable, and on top of that, you have the very efficient, very quiet hybrid powertrain, which really makes the car a lot more refined than it has any right to be.
I was going to say, like, that's actually kind of a huge thing, because I was expecting this thing to sound like Toyota hybrids of, last couple of years.
Yeah.
This thing's dead quiet. And
it really is.
Seamless. Even, like, when you're pushing it, the fake shifts are very crisp. Like, it feels a lot more expensive than it is, and not because of it. Like, it doesn't have, like, a big infotainment screen. It doesn't have any of those things that feel, quote unquote expensive, but, like, the actual refinement and, like, the actual, like, I can't put my finger on the word, but it's like the way that it feels to be in.
So I think for one, like I think most all of us are fans of the new Civic. Absolutely. In terms of like it punches above its weight class. Like, it's very well put together. Has a premium-ish feeling interior. Everything works. Everything feels good. So it's that's the basis of it, and then you add this hybrid powertrain, which is rather excellent. And I just looked it up to confirm it's 200 horsepower and 232 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah, and it feels
that's a torquey Civic aside from the Type R.
Yeah, and it adds less than 300 pounds to the curb weight of the thing. And the Civic
that's
itself
two people sitting in the back seat.
And that's the thing. And the Civic itself is like, it's not a porker to begin with, right? So it doesn't feel heavy. I was joking to Nick saying, like, I wish they offered it with the SI's tires.
And they kind of let go a little early.
Because those eco tires, I get it. You're squeaking out 1 or 2 MPG out of it. So I understand that most people who are buying this hybrid are not going to care for the SI tires. But man, if you slapped it on those things, like, it's, Honda sorts their suspensions out quite well, even on their regular quote unquote cars, and it's a fun little thing.
Well, I feel like the driving dynamics of Honda's, like, they haven't really missed in a long time.
No, they've always been really good.
Yeah,
and like even like the bigger vans, big sedans, whatever, like they all feel like
the
nice
Odyssey is genuinely fun.
Yeah, like, and it has no business being that.
It
fun,
is,
but like it's neat. Like, I don't know, I like Hondas for that reason. It's like they don't feel like a penalty box, right? Like, you're driving into, like, oh, this is nice. I could do this.
That's the thing. They've always, like, even growing up, they felt like not that they drive the same, but in many ways, like the poor man's BMW, in the sense of there's like some sport injected into everything that they make.
Yeah.
So it never feels like wallowy. It doesn't feel like you always feel like you're in control, right? It's just like you pay a 10% stiffness penalty to suspension, but it pays dividends in terms of how the car handles, right?
Yeah.
Which has always been BMW's way, even outside of their M cars. So, like it's awesome. And am I having amnesia here? Did we already talk about the price? I know we said it's a good value, but
no, we were saving the best for last.
Yeah, and it's under 40, and we're not talking 39.9. Like,
it's actually considerably under 40.
Yeah,
like 38 and change or something.
Was that with Frightened PDI?
So you can get the hybrid powertrain with 2 trim levels. The Sport Hybrid, that's 33.3.
Like
33,300 bucks. That's really good.
That's really cheap.
That's
for what you get.
Yeah. You get a lot of car for that money. Your sport touring, I think that's what, like 35 before destination?
It was 36.
I think it was 36.
36.
I think it was 36. But even then, I would argue that that's very good value.
That's great value. Holy shit.
It's a lot of car for the money, I think.
Yeah, and it comes like you get all the features you want. There's
But that Google Maps and Google Assistant, is that new for this year? I can't remember it being in the last one.
so I think it is. I think that's a new thing for this
It works
year.
well. And
Yeah.
Google Maps being built in is really nice.
Yeah, it's great. And funny enough, I know we always pan those Bose audio systems. I've always thought the Bose audio system in the Civic specifically is probably one of the best ones Bose has out like today, and that includes their
fair.
performance series stuff. Like I've heard the system in the Yukon Denali, didn't like it. For some reason, the Civic's Bose audio system is pretty damn good.
Okay, fair. I'll eat my words. I've never been the biggest Bose fan, but like, and granted, I didn't really bump any Bollywood in your.
My Bluetooth connected. You heard it, right?
It sounded pretty good.
I know you were bobbing your head. I know you were bobbing your head a little bit.
I'll take your word for it. Great value proposition, though. Seriously. Okay,
How are we doing for time, though?
we have 10 minutes left. Rush, why don't you finish off by telling us about your press car this week?
Yeah, a little more red-blooded.
It's good.
Yeah, let's really save the best for us. That's very high praise too. It's good.
It's good.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the fourth final edition.
The super duper
Okay.
definitely final edition.
I will. Yeah, this shit kind of pisses me off about British car manufacturers. I feel like no matter what, they're always like, no, it's this version of this version of this. It's the final. It's the last one. It's the last hurrah.
Yeah.
We promise. Fuck you. We're gonna do it again. Fuck your final edition.
Psych.
Oh, you bought the thing for value? Eat it.
Yeah.
Just
Eat
kidding.
it. Yeah. Anyways, but so I got a 2025, 2024,
24.
F-Type R.
Right.
And it is the tits. It's like actually okay. Here's the thing: two small issues with it.
Okay.
Everything else is awesome. One, it doesn't make any noise. Whether you're in dynamic mode and have the sport exhaust open, whatever you want, under 3,000 RPM. The problem is when you're over 3,000 RPM, you're going pretty quickly, and that's when it starts like have like this really raspy raw V8 noise and has like this thunderous like up like when you shift, it's like a clap, like a thunderclap.
Yeah, very much so.
Absolutely,
That's the good shit.
absolutely awesome. Like that
It's
car,
one of the most theatrical, dramatic sounding cars
absolutely
in a very long time.
And like Jaguar does this because like I had the
F-Pace
F-Pace Severe, and like that thing,
Pot chase severe.
yeah, fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
But like most of what I liked about that car was the same. It came
Yeah.
down to the engine. Like the
Yeah.
engine is like the real.
I am gonna really, really, really miss that engine when it's gone.
Oh yeah, in like 10 years. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, when
there's 10 more final editions
yeah,
coming.
100%. Totally fine.
No, but I'm fine with that because like that engine is
Keep making it. Just
the-
keep making it. It's so
exactly.
good.
It is the best part of anything Jaguar.
Absolutely.
I hate to say it. Look, there's a lot of small British touches in this thing. Like the attention to detail is actually like it's there. Infotainment
Okay.
sucks. It's kind of old looking and it
Wireless CarPlay or wired?
wired
Wired.
Wired.
wired CarPlay and like the rest of the infotainment is kind of it doesn't suck. I'll take that back. Like it just doesn't feel. Obviously, like it looks like Jaguar had a lot less money to play with
Yeah.
than guys like BMW. You know what? And it's hard because people are going to compare it to other marks. Or I just think that like maybe they could just update it.
There's a and back
Why
in
would they bother? It's a final edition.
it might have been back in like 18 or something where they did update it
Yeah.
from
know.
the original one
Yeah.
and so my brother actually owned a 14 the first year they came out, second year, I don't know, but it doesn't feel like significantly different. So I get exactly what you're saying, even though they have updated like
Just
once or
feels
twice.
a little dated. Like even swiping your finger across the screen. So like in the native interface, swiping your finger across the screen, it lags. It does that in CarPlay as well. So it just looks like it doesn't have enough processing power. It's like, okay, come on. That being said, the buttons, the switch gear, even like the little button to open the glove box door, everything feels very nice. Like
it's
like
so satisfying.
exactly. So like they've done a lot with like the materials quality. Like the seats are even like really like neat. Like they have a nice design to them.
I agree.
The stitching on them is great. Like it feels premium. I think the one that we have is the wrong color because it's like
navy blue.
it's navy blue with
I
a lot
like
of black.
Dude, that's a
I don't mind
lovely
either,
combo.
yeah.
Hold up. It's the wrong color because it doesn't show off the lines of the car, and the car is really pretty.
Fair.
Okay?
You're right.
So I think a lighter color like we had last year
Oh, the Grand Tan one?
on that final was that the final edition?
Definitely 100%
Okay,
final
yeah.
edition.
But like green on tan,
Oh,
absolutely gorgeous
course.
because it also helped show off the really nice lines of the F-Type. And I think the black accents kill a lot of this car's like character because
Yeah,
like
I think it needs silver wheels.
silver wheels
Yeah.
and on a Jaguar of all cars, like you can have like this beautiful like metal looking
what
grill.
the kids
like
want.
that's
I actually see a lot of Jaguars, F-types on black wheels. From
I know.
the factory, and same with Range Rovers.
but that's what I'm saying.
what the
It
kids
feels
want.
like such like a
Well, Rush is a kid. He's 27 years old, and he doesn't like this.
it's
Yeah,
a
he's an
missed
outlier.
opportunity, I think, because like Jaguar or like British cars in general have like they've had like these like really amazing like milled like aluminum wheels and like they're the ones that do this stuff really well. So it would be cool to see here. Like even like the R badges are blacked out.
Yeah, but that's like, I mean, we've complained about black packs on everything from Mitsubishis to
Yeah.
Nissans and now Jaguars
Absolutely.
and everything, right? Like we effectively hate it because it's overdone at this point. I agree with you with Jaguar. Like you want some of that classic, like silver and aluminum stuff to it.
absolutely.
It would look much better. And I think the actual demographic who are buying this would prefer that as well.
Yeah.
I
think the spec on this one is just a little wrong.
And I like it's a great car. It's a great Grand Tourer. That under 3,000 RPM thing, like I don't even blame that in terms of the exhaust sound. Like it's a noise regulation thing that almost like a bunch of new cars that are sold like in international markets
For sure, yeah.
have this, and like I've seen it in so many cars. So
I don't think
can't really
it's-
fault them for that.
Yeah. I don't think it's so much that it's quiet under 3,000 RPM. It's all of a sudden it gets loud
Yeah.
above 3,000 RPM. So it's like you kind of like it seems a little dickish the way you're driving. Like
yeah. Other cars tend to like
Like
Build
blend
it
it in a
build
little
up
more.
to it.
And so
The
just like,
F-Type is
bam.
definitely more of a switch. It's
just
more of an
blast.
on-off.
So funny enough, so I drove a GT3 Touring recently. Same issue.
Yeah.
It goes from like off to on. Even the 488 that I had last year, I think.
Yeah.
Same thing, like completely off to on.
And that's muffled too with turbos.
Yeah, but it goes from, and that's why you feel a little dickish because especially when you're driving like manual mode in some of these cars where you're shifting like right over 3,000, right? And then so it's just like momentarily just screams and then you shift and it goes back down. It comes back on, goes back down.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's unfortunate. But like, again, that motor will absolve it of all sin because it is fantastic. When I was driving it, I did find some odd behavior in like long sweepers where it felt like I don't know if there's some sort of electronic torque vectoring, like brake torque vectoring that's happening, but it felt like it was delayed. And then so you'd go into the corner and then you feel the inner wheel brake and then it pulls you. Even though you're holding the steering wheel at like the same angle.
Interesting.
Which I found kind of unnerving.
Well, really?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys experienced that at all,
A little bit, yeah.
but I mean, the reality is this car's not meant for that.
I was gonna say, like, I think this car kind of gets away with it because I see it more of like a really it's a really beautiful car that happens to be fast versus like
Bingo.
the Porsche. Like okay, like let's just say you're getting like a 911, a cab. It's like that's like a car that's like meant to be on the track, not the cab, but let's
But
just
like
say
it has a dual
it's
personality,
more
very
like
much so. Yeah.
like this car can be tracked as hard as you want, but it's like almost like turned down for the street versus like this is just like a really really great convertible that happens to have like a kick-ass engine in it, right? I don't know, that's my feeling.
You're bang on correct. Again, it's one of those things where I'm pointing it out, but I don't really
Fault the car
fault
for
it for it. It was just kind of one of those, this feels a little weird. But and the one you have is a convertible, which I'd say the coupe looks prettier, but the convertible, because of the engine and the sound, it's the way to have
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
I used to be like, in terms of like coupe versus convertible, I used to be coupe or nothing in that camp.
Yeah.
But like having the top down, loud fucking engine, that's just
I think it's been this
give me
year
that.
actually. Like driving like a lot of these like, okay, like even like the Z4 top down. I know that B58 is no big V8, but still sounds great. And even like like my own like even like the 355, it's like I would have never said like a Spider is the way to go, but it's like actually hold on a second, because the best part of about that car to me is the noise, and like with the top down, that's all you get to hear is just this like awesome V8 sound.
Well, look, because the thing is like we all grew up reading the magazines, and it was like every like tenth of a second, right? So it's like if you get the convertible, it's like the chassis isn't as rigid. And
you're kind of conditioned to think that if you're a real sports car fanatic or something, you ditch that. You say, fuck the convertible, I'm going to go for the coupe because I'm serious sports car man who demands
exactly, right? Lighter weight, slightly lighter weight, like stiffer chassis. The reality is like, on the street, we're driving 7/10, 8/10 maybe. You feel none of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd argue most of us probably wouldn't even feel it on the track, let's be real.
No. But you get the excitement of having the top.
You get the excitement of the sound, the wind in your hair, and all that
awesome.
shit.
Yeah.
But it really is like convertible, and I will say with the Jags especially, like the coupe is quite seductive. I'd say so. The convertible, it loses a little bit of that.
I think they're both. I think that they're both achingly pretty.
Yeah,
I think I don't know. The problem with the Cat is like when the roof is up, it looks kind of gross. But I think when the roof is down, with the window with the windows rolled down, that car looks really, really nice. But something about the way that the top is, like, it almost has like a weird, like, it looks a little afterthoughty to me, personally. But I don't know. I think that's just because the coupe is like 10 out of 10. Wow, that thing's absolutely gorgeous. Could just be the bias from that, but I don't know.
Yeah, so it's a great final edition. We're excited to see what the next final edition is going to be.
Hey, I like the car. As much as we troll the final edition thing, I hope there's another final edition. I'd like to see one more.
Because that just means one more year of the loud-ass V8. And
are they selling, though?
I don't know. Who cares? They make it. It's cool. We get to try it every once in a while.
I don't know.
That's the thing. It's like, hey, so what do you get instead of this?
You still see a decent...
Well, what's this worth?
Yeah, I do see F-Types around. I don't know what's...
No, they're 40 or something like that.
Well, they start at like 115. I think we looked this up when we were last week.
The
When
V8?
we did.
Like the
they
V8?
only do the V8.
No,
they only sell the
V8.
V8. Starts like 115. Yeah, I looked this up last week when they were talking about like Boxsters and GTS 4 liters and stuff. I did a quick price comparison.
So it's more of that than 911 pricing, eh?
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of car for the money.
It is a lot
I
of
think
car.
the biggest problem with it is, like, the theme of this episode. It's the branding. I think, don't fault me for this, but it's like, I think a lot of people that have money nowadays don't associate Jaguar in North America with...
I think there's something to be said about that. Like, they would rather
spend their money on a Porsche because they think it's easier to get it out.
Or even a lightly used Aston Martin or whatever. Absolutely. Like that, the brand matters, and I think it's kind of lost that luster with this generation.
I think you're right. Although I would argue that the F-Type probably kind of, in some ways, like killed the allure of the latest Vantage, the Mercedes Vantage.
Yeah.
Because
I totally agree.
Because it arguably looks better. I think it does look better.
I think so.
The Jag, and it has some Astonish lines, like closer to your Vantage, Adi. I think a little bit.
No, I totally agree.
I think it was the same designer, wasn't it?
Ian Callum.
Yeah. So it did a good job of murdering the current Vantage. But you're absolutely right. Like, I think there's more people who think about the Jag XEs as Jaguar, and because of that, the brand panache, at least in North America, isn't what it used to be.
Because I know, like, my parents were like, they saw it in the driveway. They're like, "Whoa, what is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a Jaguar." They're like, "No, can't be." Like, that's got to be like something fancier.
Well, they picture what like Nathan used to have. He had like a '96 XJR, right?
Yeah.
They picture like a big, pretty sedan.
Yeah,
with trim everywhere.
Yeah, which is cool, but like it's not this.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it will be the final edition, because I haven't seen a lot of them putting around town, if I'm being completely honest. Like, not in my neck of the woods, not brand new ones, like older ones for sure. But maybe it's like finally time that the F-Type
rides up on the sunset. Certainly, well, if that eventually happens, well, not if, but when that eventually happens, it's going to be a sad day.
Oh, absolutely.
Gonna miss that V8. And that takes us to the end of our episode this week. Thank you all for tuning in. If you wish to keep tabs on our automotive adventures, you can do so at doubleclutch.ca on socials. Rush, Imran, and not Nathan, thank you all for joining this week.
Bye.